Hello my lords and ladies, Joe here, and today I want to talk to you about the Moogle Treasure Trove hunt for Phantasmagoria. Let me be frank, this is one of the, if not the best treasure trove we've ever had. So let me tell you what will be worth your time to grind out those Moogle tomes, because you definitely don't want to miss out. First, we have our obligatory Treasure Trove Glamour accessory, and this time it's the Paisa earring. It's a brand new item that will only be available through treasure troves, so even if you have the slightest interest in it, you should pony up the 100 tomes for it. And on the same note, we have the Inferno jacket, a very cool varsity style jacket glamour that you can only get through treasure trove events. Last time we saw it was about 3.5 years ago, so who knows when it'll be back, so this should just be another top priority. On the flip side, you have the Shadow Wibbler Trumpet. This is a Shadowbringer's trial mount, which means you would be better off just forming or joining a mount party. Certainly not worth the 50 tomes. Unless you are a free trial, for which this is the only way you can get it, so you might want to consider it a high priority then. But getting back to must-have items, we have the Falcon mount, another Treasure Trove exclusive. This mount is definitely a top priority. Last time we got it was about 2 years ago, so you definitely want to get this mount while you can. And while we're still on the topic of mounts, we have the Magicked Bed. This is a level 80 Carpenter crafted mount, which the market board price is around 2 million gil. I'd put this down as a higher priority. While it's only a level 80 craftable mount, it has some rare materials needed to craft it, including Cloud's Breath, which has to be grown. So unless you are a level 80 carpenter who has access to housing, I just pay the 50 tomes for it. Next we have the Queen's Guard Barding for 50 tomes. This has gone through Boja's normal raid, the Delibrum Regane, and its current market board value is around 7 million gil. I'm going to place this at a medium priority. You might think that with such a high market board price, I'd place it higher, but the hardest part of getting it is just unlocking the raid by going through Boja. And if you're interested in doing Boja, whether it's for the experience or the weapons and armor, you'll have a good amount of chances for this to drop. And all the loot in Delibrum Regane is personal, so you won't have to roll on it. However, for those of you who want to use the treasure trove to make gil, this is the item you'll be wanting to get to resell on the market board. The Ancient One minion is for 50 tomes. This comes from a drop from a Shadowbringer's dungeon, which is currently sold on the market board for around 2 million gil. Anyone who has grinded out dungeons for minions know that this will be a high priority. Dungeon minions are rare drops, and chances are you'll have to roll against 3 other people to get it, so just take this opportunity to get it, doubly so if you are a free trial player. The Primal Angel Orchestron roll for 50 tomes is going to be placed in a low priority. It's gotten through the Shadowbringer's normal raid, Eden's Verse Fur, which sells about for 1 million gil on the market board. My experience with normal raid Orchestron rolls is that they aren't very rare of a drop, and if you use the Duty Finder to queue into the appropriate raid, people will just bounce out as soon as possible to avoid getting stuck with the raid tokens, so you won't have to roll against many people to obtain it. You might want to consider this to be a high priority if you're playing on the free trial, as you do not have access to the Eden raid yet. Modern Aesthetics Form and Function for 30 tomes is normally obtained through the Forbidden Land Eureka Pyros through Happy Bunny Treasure Hunt Silver and Gold Coffers, which sells around 700k on the market board. Like the Queen's Guard Barding, the hardest thing about getting this is simply getting to Pyros. Once in Pyros, if you do any real length of Happy Bunny farming, you'll get this item rather easily. So I'm putting it at a medium priority purely if you have yet to unlock Pyros and or don't want to Happy Bunny farm. The Pleasant Dot Parasol is another Boja item that is sold by the Resistance Quartermaster in the Southern Boza Front for 25 Boza crystals with a market board value of 400k, which is going for 30 tomes in the event. Low priority. When an item is static in a shop for a reasonable price, you might as well just pick it up the normal way, which is exactly the same for the Ballroom Etiquette, the Winsome Wallflower for 30 tomes. This allows you to do the lean emote, and while it's a great emote, the normal price is 1,800 Skybuilder scripts from the Firmament or the market board for 400k. 1,800 scripts is not hard to stockpile, and unless you have a huge aversion to crafting and gathering, this should remain a low priority. Now for the infamous MGP Platinum card, for a whole 30 Moogle Treasure Tomes. Low priority. Some people may tell you that spending 30 tomes on an easily obtained currency that has extremely easy access to is a good idea. If you want MGP during the event, you can just do gates, and that way you will get MGP and tomes at the same time, rather than spending tomes to get MGP. And it's certainly not worth 30 tomes. The Elpst Horn and the Bomb Palanquin Horn are gone through a Realm Reborn beast tribes of the Sahagin and Cobalt respectively. You have to be a sworn reputation and they cost 150,000 gil each. Or you can use this event to get them for 30 tomes apiece. I'm a big believer that there is little excuse for you to not do the beast tribes, so I'm placing these both in low priority. The best argument for people to use tomes to get a Realm Reborn tribe mounts is that they cost a lot. But I don't really think that 150,000 is all too expensive. And if you're a trial player, you're dying to find ways to spend money, so definitely get them the old-fashioned way. Just do the daily grind to get your reputation up. There are many prizes that beast tribes have besides mounts. The Kamui Fiefs are for 30 tomes and are also a low priority. Much like the Shadow Wibbler, you are far better off doing a mount farm, rather than spending the time to grind out 30 tomes for each of these mounts. Now normally I don't really like to give out ratings for housing items, but this time I'm just going to say that every single one of these is a low priority item. They are gotten through normal crafting level 86 recipes, and none of them are particularly expensive on the market board. The most expensive one is currently the Candlelit Sundries for around 54,000, and I only think that is due to our current close proximity to Valentine's Day. Don't waste your 20 tomes on these. The Wind-Up Sill for 50 tomes. This is another A Realm Reborn Beast Tribe reputation reward. Same logic applies as the mounts, so I won't repeat why this is a low priority item. Now we get to the Skallic chest and leg armors for 15 tomes apiece. These come from a Stormblood high level dungeon. And a bit of an anecdote, I recently went on a loot farm for one piece of Skallic armor, and it was hell. High-level dungeon glam farming is terrible. For those of you who might not know, chests in high-level dungeons are not guaranteed to drop armor. And if they do, it's a 50-50% it'll be for the slot you want. And a 1 out of 7 chance it'll be for the right set. I only wanted one specific piece of gear, and before I got it, I got the dungeon minion drop 3 times. What further prioritized these is that the 2 chests that have the chance to drop the chest and legs come from the same treasure chests, and they are located after the second boss and after beating the final boss. I really recommend you look up these armor pieces either through a showcase video or towards your collection, and if any of them tickle your fancy in the slightest, they should be a high priority item. Next, we have the special Time War maps for 15 tomes apiece. These are special Moogle Treasure Trove maps that have a 100% chance of opening a treasure dungeon portal. And while it is nice, what's better about these is that they're stackable, unlike normal maps. Still, I'm going to give these a low priority. But don't get me wrong, these are what I plan to spend my tomes on once I've gotten everything else I've wanted. I really recommend looking up which treasure dungeons correspond to which maps to see what you might be able to get. And once you've gotten everything you want from the event, start spending tomes on these. The running maps are normally gotten through 250 Centurio seals apiece. And trust me when I say that you are better off just doing A and S rank hunts from A Realm Reborn, Heavensward, and Stormblood, rather than collect the seals than spending 10 tomes on these. Low priority. The triple Triad cards are always priced so strangely. To even unlock them for the Treasure Trove event, you need to be able to obtain them on your character. So for the Porogo card and the Honori card, you have to unlock Seika and the House for Tom Manservant through the MSQ, and when they're available to play, you should just play them. Neither of these cards have a bad drop rate, so spending 10 tomes on them is a complete waste of time. However, the Seeker of Solitude is a dungeon card which is significantly more rare, so I'd make this a high priority if you have the Shadowbringer's Dungeon, the Grand Cosmos unlocked. The Shadowbringer's Warrior of Light card, I'm going to put it on a medium priority. While trial card drops are not as common as mounts, I wouldn't say they're super rare, so you might pick one up simply by joining a mount farm. And they're personalized loot, so you'll never have to roll for it. Though if you'd rather be safe than sorry, 7 tomes is a good price to pay. But the Eden's Promise card is probably the biggest hidden gem of this whole event. The reputation of this card precedes itself, and it is a very rare drop from a raid, so you'll definitely want to spend 7 tomes to get it. It's a real shame that trial players cannot get it, because this is going to save a lot of card collectors a ton of grief. If you are subbed and you have yet to unlock Eden's Promise Eternity, make sure you do so and get this card. The Biddy Duckbill is in the same category as the Riding Maps, being a low priority as it is a hunt reward purchasable for 700 sacks of nuts. Sacks of nuts are the currency dropped by Shadowbringers and Beyond hunts, so if you're a trial player and you want this minion ASAP, here's your chance. The Bacon Bits minion, however, you need a level 80 Botanist retainer to have a chance of receiving, or it can drop from bronze tinged sacks from Eureka Orthos, and the market board value of the piggy is around 320k. The fact that it comes from bronze tinged sacks drops it from a high to a medium priority. For trial players who don't have access to retainers nor the deep dungeon, this would be an excellent time to pick it up, and 7 tomes is a very small price. The Garden's Gate Orchestron roll is another tribal reward from the Shadowbringers Pixies that normally costs 4 Fey Fancies, which are the Pixies' currency. This is an even lower priority than the Realm Reborn Beast Tribe rewards, because what else are you going to spend the Pixies' currency on? In the process of getting a maxed out Pixie reputation, you'll have more than enough to pick this up. It is so low priority that I'm hesitant to even recommend it to trial players who have no means of accessing it. Don't waste the 7 tomes on this, unless you plan never to do the Pixie quests. And what kind of monster would you be if you did that? Curl Roots for 5 tomes are a low priority, even for trial players who don't have access to gardening. Leveling your Chocobo isn't really a daunting ordeal, so I just don't see the need to spend 5 tomes on it. And finally, we have the ever faithful 10 stack of Magic Prism Job Mastery Fireworks, which are purely to dump any tomes you have left over, making it, of course, the bottom priority. So yeah, that's my priority guide for the hunt for Phantasmagoria. Let me know what you think. Are you happy with the prize selection? I certainly hope that this is a sign of things to come, and they have a even better treasure trove next time. And that this isn't them just hitting the panic button over the current discourse of the game. But what prizes are you going for? Do you agree or disagree with my rating? Let me know in the comments. Like and sub, all that good stuff. Happy tome hunting, and I'll see you in the world of tomorrow.